Hi, my name is Katie.
And my name is Catherine.
And we are here today to share a little bit with you about our mission trip experience. As you know, we visited Eagle Butte, South Dakota. Stereotypically, some of us thought we would see teepees and headdresses and face paint, but instead, we encountered a street filled with condemned homes and animals and beautiful children.
What we walked away with from this experience exceeded any possible expectations, and our view of the world has altered, and the lessons learned have truly changed our lives forever.
And this is where our trip begins.
We arrived in the scenic South Dakota state after a long and tiring journey. The 3-hour drive was everything but nothing at the same time, a phrase we used to describe the beautiful land that stretched as far as the eye could see. When we arrived in Eagle Butte, we were introduced to our sleeping quarters in a children's center with one bathroom for each gender and a concrete floor which became our beds. These factors, along with limited shower access, seemed like major lifestyle changes for a group of teenagers used to the luxurious comforts back in Brookfield. However, by the end of the week, we continued to be grateful for the floor, the showers every couple of days, and even the bathroom situation. Each morning, we started off working at the home of an elder to keep a tradition of the Lakota people. Elders came first in their culture, and the help we were about to offer was no exception. There was no food to be seen within these homes, except for maybe a little dog or cat food. In most cases, there was no electricity or running water, and there was a bucket that sat in the middle of the floor as a toilet. At most, bedding consisted of mattress that had never had a sheet on it for sleeping. Even with so little, those aging occupants offered us water to keep us cool, and their graciousness continued throughout the day. By evening, the Lakota people's generosity in sharing what they had became a model for us. During the second part of each day, we ran a day camp for the Lakota children in the area. It became instantly clear that they were the inspiration for the name of the organization, Simply Smiles. Their beautiful smiles continued throughout the week as we taught them dances like the cha-cha slide, played football with them, and read stories together.
We started off as 18 high school students from all different towns, families, and backgrounds. By the end of the week, we grew into one family. We learned from one another and became a close group that will forever be a part of us. It's easy to judge someone the first time you meet them. It's easy to pick out all their faults and praise your own talents. We could have spent a whole week judging the Lakota people. We could have experienced a whole different trip, but we didn't. We learned right from the start that we were just guests, and we were lucky to be accepted into their community. We learned the importance of listening and trying to understand someone else's life. Over the trip, a 6-year-old changed my life. I'm only 17 with my whole life ahead of me, but in just one night, a boy named Darren taught me I was living by all the wrong standards. Darren was 6 years old and was possibly one of the shyest little boys I've ever encountered. Unlike the other children of the tribe, he did not want to tell us about his life or even tell us about his day. I will say right now that I did not have a close connection with Darren. He will forever be a part of me, but not because I hung out with him every day or got to learn about his life like I did with some of the other children, but because he was a blatant sign from God to me. The suicide rate on the reservation is 3 times the national average, equaling about 1 suicide every 2 weeks. Thinking just about this statistic, look around you. Each person in this room is affected by you. Whatever you do is an instance where you could help or hurt someone. I never thought about my life this way. If someone died, I would want them to remember me as helping them and being a positive influence in their life. Darren was 6. Only 6 young years he has survived on this planet. The aspect of survival is key in Darren's life. I learned early on in the week that alcoholism and abuse went hand in hand on the reservation. That unfortunately applied to Darren's life. I learned that giving these children hope was the main goal of my week. Every night, Darren came to the Boys and Girls Club where we were staying for a warm meal and a time to play. Truly a second to breathe. I knew all the things he had to face and how strong he had to be, but when we were together, he was able to smile and not to be scared anymore. One night, while the other children were retreating back to their homes, Darren looked up at me with beautiful, tear-filled eyes. This exact image is burned into my mind forever. I immediately asked what is wrong, without expecting much of an answer, considering the lack of communication the whole week. He cried, "Can someone please walk me home?" I paused. A young child is terrified of going home alone due to all the abuse he would have to bear all night. I stopped there on the sidewalk, waving goodbye to Darren, realizing that I need to change my life. Tears were rolling down my face, knowing how strong he is and how weak society has made me. Darren lives in a condemned home with no money and very little hope of a future, but he lives on smiling. He is the most influential individual I have and will ever meet.
The Lakota culture is so beautiful in so many ways. The music and beliefs that are instilled in the native people are admirable. Although the differences in cultures made it seem like our homes were worlds apart, it is important to realize that we live on the same planet and even in the same country, and we need to help each other despite what differences in culture and prejudices there might be. We were simply amazed by the beauty of the Lakota culture, and we're truly lucky to have had this experience. On the last full day of our stay with the Lakota tribe, we were honored to witness the traditional powwow. The powwow consisted of ceremonial dances and music set in a circular wooden pit with the beautiful scenery surrounding. Earlier in the week, our group tread lightly around our new acquaintances, but by the end of the week, we truly felt a part of them. We had made a connection. The tribe is not able to hold these sacred ceremonies too often due to the prohibitive cost in a poverty-stricken community. We are very fortunate to witness the beauty, the importance, and the value that those rituals hold in the Lakota culture. It does not take long to get to know a person, to understand them, and to appreciate the differences that might exist.
It is clear that we have learned a lot during our week with the Lakota people. Our trip to South Dakota was one that we will never forget. We feel that our faith strengthened thanks to the trip because it was clear that God was present in all that we did. We saw God in the smiles of the children we met.
We saw God through Osiapi, the Lakota word for helping one another.
We saw God in the strength that our group had.
We saw God in acceptance of different cultures and values.
We saw God through community.
We saw God through the difference we made. We would like to thank all of you for your time in listening to our experience and the fact that we would not have been able to go to South Dakota without the continuous love and support we received from such a strong church community. This was truly a life-changing experience, and we could not have done it without all of you. Thank you.